Think the players control the game? Think again. The NFL delivers jaw-dropping plays and unforgettable moments, but sometimes the real drama doesn't come from a game-winning touchdown or a clutch interception. It comes from the men in stripes. One call and everything changes. Today, we're diving into the head-scratching moments when referees didn't just make a call. They altered the course of history and left fans, players, and coaches questioning, were they even watching the same game? From disputed penalties to game-changing decisions, this is the side of the NFL you don't see coming. So buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Let's take a step back to 2002 in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the New England Patriots were hosting the Oakland Raiders in a snowy AFC divisional playoff game. Now, if you're a Raiders fan, I suggest you sit down and maybe grab a stress ball, because what we're about to revisit still haunts your nightmares. With under 2 minutes remaining, the Raiders were leading 13-10, and the Patriots had possession. Tom Brady dropped back, pressured by Charles Woodson, and bam! Woodson knocked the ball right out of Brady's hand. The Raiders were covered. Game over, right? Wrong. That was the origin of the tuck rule, a rule so controversial it could have its own horror franchise. The refs huddled as every fan held their breath, and after what felt like an eternity, the call came down. Incomplete pass. The Raiders fans were crushed. Patriots fans, ecstatic. Even though Brady was clearly trying to pull the ball back to his body like he was hiding a secret snack from Bill Belichick. According to this obscure rule, if a quarterback's arm is moving forward when he loses the ball, it's considered an incomplete pass, not a fumble. And just like that, the Raiders' Super Bowl dreams were tucked away. To Raiders fans, it was a robbery in broad daylight. To Patriots fans, it was destiny. That one call didn't just end a game. It ignited the Patriots dynasty, paving the way for Tom Brady's 6 Super Bowl rings. The tuck rule eventually became so controversial that the NFL eventually scrapped it in 2013. Better late than never, I guess. And if you think this call was bad, just wait until we dive into the next disaster where replacement refs stepped in and gave us what is now known as the Fail Mary. Fast forward to 2012, a year remembered for many things, including the arrival of replacement referees in the NFL due to a referee lockout. Yes, you heard that correctly. During this period, the league opted to use less experienced officials to oversee games. We're pretty sure one of them had youth soccer coach on his resume, as what happened next was a perfect storm of chaos. Nothing epitomized this more than the infamous Fail Mary game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football. It was the final play of the game, and the Seahawks were down 12-7 when Russell Wilson launched a desperate 24-yard Hail Mary into the end zone. The ball descended into a cluster of players, and Green Bay's M.D. Jennings comes down with what looks like a clean interception. The Packers win, right? Wrong. Again. The confusion was so bad it was almost comical. One ref signaled a touchdown, the other a touchback. It was chaos. After what felt like the longest review in NFL history, the call came down. Touchdown Seahawks. It was pure madness. The call was so bad it became known as the Fail Mary. It was such a disaster that when the real refs came back the next week, they got a standing ovation. The Fail Mary wasn't just a bad call, it was the end of the replacement ref era. But if you thought that was the worst call in NFL ruins history, buckle up for what's next, because the no call in the 2019 NFC Championship left an entire city in disbelief. Next, we head to the 2019 NFC Championship game, where the New Orleans Saints faced off against the Los Angeles Rams. The Superdome was roaring, and the Saints were marching toward a second Super Bowl appearance. But then, something happened that was so outrageous, everyone heard the collective gasp from New Orleans. With the Super Bowl on the line and less than 2 minutes left, Saints quarterback Drew Brees tosses a pass to Tommy Lee Lewis. But before Lewis can make the catch, Rams cornerback nickel Roby Coleman levels him. It was more than just pass interference, it was practically a crime scene. The entire Superdome went silent, waiting for the inevitable yellow flag, but nothing. No flag, no whistle, just stunned disbelief. Even Roby Coleman, the defender who delivered the hit himself, couldn't believe he got away with it. The referees missed what was probably the most blatant pass interference in NFL history. It was so obvious that even the officials at a Pee Wee football game would have thrown a flag, tossed a penalty, and maybe called the police for good measure. The fallout was immediate. Saints fans were outraged. The NFL was forced to allow pass interference challenges, although that rule lasted about as long as a viral meme because it turns out referees don't like being questioned on national TV. The Rams went to the Super Bowl, but the Saints were left to wonder, what if? But if you thought that was the end of bad calls, think again. Let's move on to one of the most head-scratching moments where quarterbacks started getting treated like they were made of glass. Let's fast forward to 2022, in a game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yes, once again, Tom Brady found himself on the favorable end of a questionable referee decision. It was a close game, and the Falcons' defense desperately needed a stop. Late in the fourth quarter, Grady Jarrett delivered a perfect textbook sack on Brady. Nothing unusual, just good football, taking him down like he's done 100 times before. But then, out of nowhere, the refs threw a flag for roughing the passer. The crowd fell into stunned silence. Even the commentators couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Replays showed a clean sack, no helmet-to-helmet contact, no excessive force, just a routine tackle. But for some reason, the referees decided Jarrett's play was too rough. They saw something nobody else did, gifted Brady a crucial first down. It was the kind of call that made you wonder if the refs were playing fantasy football with some serious money on the line. It was so baffling, even Brady seemed unsure if the refs were serious or trying to win his approval. The internet erupted with outrage, and fans joked that quarterbacks might as well start playing in bubble wrap. It was yet another moment that had everyone questioning what the league was coming to. And just when you thought officiating couldn't get any more confusing, the refs decided to redefine what it means to catch a football. It was week 1 of the 2010 NFL season, and the Detroit Lions were squaring off against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. After years of disappointment, Lions fans were hungry for a win, and with just seconds left on the clock, it looked like they finally get it. Down 19-14, quarterback Shaun Hill launched a pass to the corner of the end zone where Calvin Megatron Johnson made an incredible leaping catch. He secured the ball, got both feet down, and fell to the ground. Touchdown, game over, the Lions win, or so they thought. The referees took a closer look, and after a painstaking review, they overturned the touchdown, ruling an incomplete pass. The reason? Johnson didn't complete the process of the catch. Even though he clearly caught the ball, landed in bounds, had time to think about his post-game dinner plans, and had time to celebrate, the refs determined that because the ball briefly popped out after he hit the ground, it didn't count. Lions fans were left stunned, and the football world was thrown into confusion. What exactly did completing the process even mean? If catching the ball with both hands and landing in bounds wasn't enough, what was? The ruling sparked endless debates. To this day, fans still scratch their heads over that call. But if you think that was strange, wait until we revisit one of the oddest moments in NFL history, when the refs turned the simplest of football rituals into a controversy. Now, let's travel back to Thanksgiving Day in 1998. The Detroit Lions were taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game that went down to the wire. In overtime, the game came down to something as simple as a coin toss. But even that wasn't free from controversy. As referee Phil Luckett tossed the coin, Steelers captain Jerome Bettis called tails. However, as the coin landed, Luckett announced to the capacity crowd at the Pontiac Silverdome that Bettis had called heads, giving the Lions the ball and eventually the win. Bettis immediately protested, insisting he said tails. Replays and audio confirmed that he had, in fact, called tails first. But by then, it was too late. The damage had been done, and the Lions took full advantage of the mistake. Steelers fans were fuming, and Thanksgiving dinners across the country were filled with heated debates over the botched coin toss. The incident became so infamous that it led to a rule change, requiring captains to call the toss before the coin is flipped, eliminating any potential for future confusion. But for Steelers fans, it's a moment they'd rather forget. So, there you have it, some of the most infamous moments in NFL history where the referees decided to ruin, and in some cases, change the course of the game. Which moment had you throwing your remote at the TV? And did we miss any that deserve to be on this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more football content. And be sure to check out our next video. We'll see you there.